Ragtime by E.L. Doctorow was published in 1975, but narrates the story of American life in the beginning of the 1900s. The main family lives in New Rochelle, New York, and consists of mother, father, grandfather, younger brother, and mother's son. Their real names are never revealed. The omniscient narrator also delves into the lives of real historical figures in New York at the time, and somehow all of the characters wind up with a connection. The book tells of Evelyn Nesbit's adulterous and murderous affair and her adoration for a fictional Jewish man and his beautiful, lonely daughter. Harry Houdini appears in the mix, as well as J.P. Morgan and Henry Ford. Each person has a chapter narrated from their perspective. The original family happens upon a young black girl, her child, and her child's father. Much of the major conflict of the book resides in this father, named Coalhouse Walker Jr., and his struggle against society for respect and justice. The plot takes the reader countless places, and there is a ridiculous amount of going on at one time. E.L. Doctorow was born on January 6, 1931, in New York. He hasn't died yet, he's still living. He's 83 years old. He grew up in the Bronx in New York, which is relevant because all of his characters in Ragtime are based in New York. He was drafted into the U.S. Army in 1954, and he lived in New Rochelle when Ragtime was written in 1975, and the family in the book is based in New Rochelle. The author makes it a specific point to mention that each man in the book has a mustache. Therefore, this becomes a symbol of their manhood and power to each other more than anything. But the mustache also represents the societal norm that men are held to. When younger brother decides to become a part of Coalhouse, the rebellious group, the first thing he does is shave his blonde mustache and shave his head. Doctorow 282. This proves that he no longer gives any thought to society's perceptions of what a man should be. Foster says himself that it's all about sex, except when it's not. Sex is brought up a lot in Ragtime, but it's usually debilitating to the characters. They are unable to resist, and their desire subsequently becomes their weakness. Sex demonstrates the power of nature over the human condition. Evelyn Nesbit is a prime example of the power struggle. The entire chaos of the book begins unceremoniously with Evelyn's inability to stay faithful to her husband. Color is a very important element in Ragtime, but the most important colors of all are white and black. In the beginning of the book, almost everyone mentioned is described as wearing white. Everyone wore white in the summer, page 4. White shows the feigned innocence and feigned perfection of America. It's an overload of the color to the point that it becomes ridiculous, and it only increases the contrast as events take a dark turn. It's almost as if the people try to hide their distress by the color that they wear. A major section of this book is characterized by racial prejudice. The color black became not only a symbol of mourning, but one of disrespect and fear. With so much emphasis on color, it becomes evident that color is really irrelevant, and the character of the person is what matters. When younger brother tried to join Coalhouse's gang, he blackened his face and hands with burnt cork in order to feel accepted by the group of black young males. Later, he washes it off, and Coalhouse embraced younger brother with the same fervor he accorded to the others. He was an equal with them, regardless of his skin color. The main literary element is characterization. Each character gets their own spotlight chapter, where the omniscient narrator tells the story through their perspective. This way, the author gets to show all different aspects of the American experience. In fact, the culture of America is that each person experiences it differently, and that's a lot of what E.L. Doctorow was trying to portray in his work. On the literary scale, I put Ragtime as a 7 out of 10. This is because it involves lots of higher thinking, because there's so much going on and so many different perspectives. It also brings up almost exclusively the human condition in every single situation, and there are many symbols present for interpretation. On the readability scale, I gave Ragtime a 5 out of 10. It is a little difficult to follow because so much is happening at once, but the language is more modern and understandable, so it's about halfway. I would recommend Ragtime to read for pleasure and also for the Independent Novel Project. Although it is confusing at times, the confusion makes the book more interesting. There are plenty of fosterizable elements present. There is so much going on at once that the book reaches great depths of the human condition and shows insight to the American life before the First World War.